Breaking developments in the Israel-Hamas war this afternoon. Israel launching a strike to target Hamas leadership in Qatar, a U.S. ally. Hamas leadership was there to consider a ceasefire in the Gaza Strip, and now there's a full evacuation order in Gaza City. NBC's Richard Engel joins us now with the latest.
The Israeli military has now issued a complete and immediate evacuation order for all of Gaza City, telling residents in Arabic, dropping leaflets on the city, telling people that they must leave their homes and head south to a so-called safe zone in southern Gaza. However, hundreds of thousands of Palestinians remain in the city. Some say they will not go despite the intensifying Israeli operation. Humanitarian groups warn that the people of Gaza are already facing starvation and that this could be a humanitarian catastrophe if Israel pushes deeper into Gaza City and pushes ahead with this offensive. But that is exactly what Prime Minister Netanyahu says the army intends to do. He spoke in a very sharply worded statement telling Gazans to leave immediately and saying they have been warned. But not all agree with this operation. There have been some protests here, I would say fairly small protests, with Israelis saying that negotiations are a better way to resolve this conflict, that a ceasefire deal would be a far more effective and safer way to rescue the remaining hostages held by Hamas. Richard Engel, NBC News, Jerusalem.
Okay, we'll keep our eye on everything that's brewing in the Middle East, but thank you so much for joining us here at noon. And it's a pleasant day outside if you have not been out just yet. The sun's out, it's not too hot, it's not too cool.
That's
it's
right.
Perfect.
And if you like these slightly more seasonal, maybe even a little below average temperatures, take advantage of it. We're about to heat things up, especially for late summer. We are looking at highs that could potentially top out near 90 as we head toward later this week into this weekend. And after highs that we've had in the 70s, it's going to feel like the middle part of summer, really. So outside right now, here's a look up in Carmel where we've had a few of those high thin clouds roll in. That's about all we're going to get for today. We're looking at a mostly clear sky. This area of low pressure back to our west has pushed in some of that cloud cover for us here locally. And we've also got that boundary well to our west northwest, producing a little bit of some rainfall. We have extremely dry conditions around the Indy Metro, central Indiana, where our not only ground conditions, but also all throughout the atmosphere, things are relatively dry. So it's going to take a lot to overcome that to get any rainfall. And I'm really not expecting much of that. We'll talk about that chance late Wednesday into Thursday morning as a warm front lifts through, but that's really going to be just about it. In the meantime, temperatures really starting to warm. Back to 68 right now in the Indy Metro. We've got the low 70s south at 73 in Muncie. We will likely see the upper 70s for highs today, which the average is still 81. So that's still a little below normal for this type of year. Keeping those mostly clear skies, we fall back through the 60s, getting into the evening hours tonight, eventually into the mid-50s tonight. Here are your high temperatures for today, ranging from the upper 70s to near 80, but mentioning on our way to near 90 as we head closer to the weekend. We'll talk about that big time warming trend, that late summer heat push coming up at the full forecast.
All right, Lindsay, thank you, and we'll check back in. Now, this afternoon, Metro Police are searching for at least 2 men after a shooting during an attempted carjacking. Well, it happened near 38th and Eagle Creek Parkway just before 3 this morning. Police say the victim was shot after getting away from the attempted carjacking, and we counted at least 6 bullets in the car. That victim was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries, and he says he may have hit one of the suspects with the car while trying to get away. IMPD is asking anyone in the area that may have surveillance cameras to reach out to detectives to help in the case. And now to the east side. That's where 2 people were hurt in a separate shooting. Metro Police say 1 victim is in critical condition. This happened on North Riley Avenue near East 21st Street and Emerson Ave around 12:30 this morning. Police say they found 2 victims there. One was taken to the hospital in critical condition. The other was treated at the scene. So far, there's no information about a possible suspect. And 13 News is learning more about 3 shootings happening just hours apart, with a first look at security video showing the moment shots were fired near a convenience store in Muncie. The Madison Food Mart shared the footage with us here. Police say 3 men were sitting in a parked car late Friday night. You can see windows of that white car just being shattered by bullets. They hit two of the men inside the car. Both are said to be in stable condition. A few hours earlier, though, two men shot at an apartment complex. Police confirming last night 27-year-old Ashanti Stewart died from his injuries. A 24-year-old is stable. Then around 1 o'clock Saturday morning, police say a 52-year-old man was shot inside a house on South Monroe Street. He's also said to be stable. In all, five people shot in 5 hours. Now, city leaders are working to come up with effective ways to reduce violence and crime. And youth violence is a growing issue here in Indianapolis. This year, 21 people ages 19 and younger have been killed by gunfire, and that's already more than all of last year. Now, a new report shows there may be a link between youth violence and social media. The nonprofit news organization Chalkbeat Indiana and Axios found from 2018 to this past January that police noted social media was involved in 25 out of 72 homicides. Now, some of these involve setting up meetings to buy or sell guns and drugs, which turned into a robbery. In one case, an argument on Instagram Live turned into a bounty on a teen's head, and it was just weeks before he was shot and killed in a drug deal.
The story is probably not surprising to a lot of people, right? That social media is involved in a lot of these homicides. I think what we wanted to portray was really drill down on exactly how it's used and get input from students about the impact to their peers.
Understanding the data and numbers is important. One of the things they did here is that social media algorithms play a role in normalizing violence or drugs. And you can find more on this study on our website at WTHR.com. It's the final stretch for what could be the end of a controversial data center project in Franklin Township. Last night's City-County Council meeting presented a vote to call down the issue, setting up a contentious final vote on September 22nd. Our Alex Almanza shows us the growing opposition and what's next.
Well, the future of that proposed Google data center is looking grim as a majority of city-county councilors are publicly opposing the project, though there are some that do support it.
No data center! No data center!
They're the signs that you've seen for months, various messages together opposing the tech giant from staking ground in central Indiana soil.
Just because of the money that's involved on their end, and all we have is our word and what we can do as a community to try to come together and fight things like this.
No data center!
Community members were even joined by some counselors in a protest outside the city-county building. Michael Paul Hart was one of the first counselors to publicly oppose the project, and since then at least 16 others joined the opposition. If at least 15 counselors vote no on the project on September 22nd, the proposal dies.
We've got to get it to 20. My goal is to get it to 20 before we get to the 22nd. So when that day happens, I'll feel a lot better, but we're still working for the votes.
For some, the fight continues.
We see the finish line is getting very close. We're excited. We want to see what's coming up next, but again, we're not giving up until it's done.
Others support the project, saying there's tremendous tax revenue to be made from these facilities.
Do you feel like the project should move forward?
Absolutely. I think I hear the people of Franklin Township, their concerns, but when I sat down with the representatives of Google, I understood it at a much broader range, if you will. I realized that this proposed development is much bigger than a council district. It affects the city and the county as a whole.
Now this proposal has one final stop, and that's at the September 22nd City-County Council meeting. There, it's going to be the full showdown between remonstrators and the petitioner. They're going to face off, and they'll ultimately decide the fate of this next Google data center project. At the City-County building, Alex Almanza, 13 News.
All right, Alex, thank you. And Muncie residents are weighing in on the city's 2026 budget plan. It comes with $1 million less than this year's. The mayor points to Senate Bill 1, and he says it decreases Muncie's property tax revenue to the tune of 7%. Last night, members of the city council talked about how they will address that funding gap in the coming weeks.
It does mean that we have to look very carefully at areas where we can cut. Our goal is, of course, going to be to tighten the belt as much as possible while still being able to provide services and also take care of our employees.
A final vote is scheduled for October. And some news from the Indy 500 Festival this afternoon. They are announcing the retirement of 500 Fest president and CEO Bob Bryant. Bryant joined the 500 Festival in 2013. They say he has been a key player in advancing the festival, enriching lives, all while making a positive impact on the community. Bryant will continue to work with the festival board and staff as they search for a new president and CEO. His retirement is effective January 9th of 2026. Well, today, the organizers behind TED Talks are bringing a new event to Indianapolis. TED Sports Indianapolis is running for the next 3 days. And this is TED's first ever sports-focused conference. It's bringing together more than 600 athletes and global leaders to share ideas about the future of sports. Indiana Sports Corp says this event isn't only about sports, it's about how people connect. Now, the main events will take place at the Old National Center. For those who do not have tickets, don't worry, because all of the sessions will be recorded and then published on TED's YouTube page.